Oh boy, whatever you need to do to keep those pedals going now.
This is an unforced error that'll lead to an icing call, provided Fedun got there, and he did, and he got hurt.
There are some times when a player goes down that you have a gut feeling that this isn't going to turn out very well.
Fedun went ankle first into the inboards, Bob, and that at first glance looks really bad.
It all happened kind of fast. The puck got sent down the ice, and I was just trying to get back as fast as I could. His stick kind of hit one of my feet out from under me, and I couldn't stop from going knee first into the boards.
So once I got out there, it was with the amount of pain and the mechanism that we were looking at knee or some sort of major bony injury. We got to get him to a facility to control pain and stabilize.
Taylor was immediately rushed to hospital from the XL Energy Center and underwent emergency surgery on his fractured right femur. It was a procedure that went well into the early hours of the next day. While he was in surgery, Chris Davey, along with the rest of the Oilers staff, were arranging for Fedun's parents to fly in from Edmonton and visit their injured son, and at the same time, already planning the young defenseman's rehabilitation program.
By the time he came back to Edmonton, the house was set up, and we then initiated the treatments right at his home for the first 2 weeks. There's lots of things that we need to organize that isn't normal for the rest of our injuries that we have here.
While such a severe injury is a first for the team, it's all too familiar to Minnesota Wild defenseman Curtis Foster. Foster, a former Oiler, fractured his left femur on a similar play in March of 2008 and was one of the first people to reach out to Fedun after his injury occurred.
I think the biggest thing for him is you just got to stick to the course. You know, it's a long process, but at the end of the day, you know, you feel a little better every day. You know, when you do take those first few steps and you do take the ice for the first time, every single time you make that next step, it definitely feels a lot better, and you do feel that you see the light at the end of the tunnel. When you have the staff and the team like Edmonton here, you know who you know are going to stick behind him. It's a huge thing, and I know for me, Minnesota stuck behind me and stayed with me, and it's probably the reason why I'm still in the league today. So I mean, when you can have that support, it's a huge thing.
The guidance of TD Force and Chris Davies has been amazing. They've been so passionate about helping this young man.
I think the biggest thing that I have is sort of trying to make sure that everybody, going right from all the therapists, Chris, the doctors, Dr. Reed and Dr. Nadu, and then our management and our coaches, and even Taylor's parents. I was lucky to have good communication with everybody. We talked about what the next stages would be, and then we'd execute.
The pool is a fantastic modality to help with any swelling. So here's a guy that just sitting in his wheelchair, the pressure of his leg on the wheelchair would be painful. So we got him in the water, and he was immediately unweighted and pain-free, and was able to move his hip, move his knee, and do things that, minutes before he just thought that was never going to happen.
But no twisting, no torquing the femur. When you're ready, I just want you to walk.
The first time I was in the water, it was just the feeling to be able to touch my feet to the ground and not have to hold on to something was a pretty special moment. I think to know that I was going to be able to work that in with the rehab, to be able to be in the water and actually move around, it was like the first time I felt human after the whole ordeal happened.
You scared you're going to fall? A little bit.
He just feels so helpless offline, and then you get in the water and you feel normal, and you start moving around, and he's going forwards and backwards, and he's doing shuffles, and it's just, exciting to watch, the look on his face that things are going well.
The pool here behind me has a movable floor, so we can change the water depth. All these little milestones where we slowly lower the pool like that, it breaks it up in a way that it doesn't seem so long. Yet we've made all these strides in that short amount of time, so it's pretty cool.
With Taylor, there would be a lot of emphasis on trying to slow down the muscle atrophy of his quads, hammies, and his glutes, hip flexors. There was, a challenge that every day that we had to make the muscle fire. He had so much swelling there and so much pain that he didn't want to use it. So we had to, every day, we were working 5 hours a day for the first 2-3 months there. just to get everything working, and to stop the shrinking of that leg.
Every time there was a new step in the progression, I had an appointment with Dr. Reed. We took x-rays, kind of took the next step, and then Hap was right there with a plan of how we were going to proceed forward. And that was really important to me to help maintain forward progress and always feel like I was working towards something.
3, 2, 1, go. Push. Come on, Fed, push it.
And finally, when it got to the point where I was able to get into the weight room and start to do a little bit more, I got to spend a lot more time with Simon, and it just added another guy to the team who's been really, really helpful this entire time.
Seconds, you can do it.
Come on, buddy.
Let's
Finish
go,
off.
let's
No
go,
problem.
let's go.
Here we go. Come on.
Simon Bennett is fantastic at bringing motivation and enthusiasm and helping our guys work at the highest level that they can work at.
Just in time for beach season.
Now, once we got to a certain point that Taylor was able to go on the ice, there were some things that I needed to do with Taylor. But once he got to a certain point, we needed to bring in Steve Serdachny, our hockey skills coach. And he can come out there and just take some 2-3 seconds to watch and say, well, look, he's compensating here, or he's not pivoting very well there. And I either need to figure out whether it's a weakness or a tightness or something confidence, because there's so many things that we have to make sure are going well with Taylor as we move forward.
It's unbelievable where Taylor was and now where he is now, and it's a testament to a number of different people. The first one that comes to mind is Chris Davey. He's worked with him pretty much day in and day out. He's pushed the envelope, he's asked the questions, he's always trying to get him to do new things and better things. And then number 2 is the rest of the medical staff. Dr. Nadu, our head team physician, he was there right from the start. He was in good communication with Minnesota. Dr. David Reed, the orthopedic surgeon, he's been the one that's been following Taylor the closest as a staff. It's been a real good learning experience, and it just shows how well that we've all worked together.
Really tests the character and the makeup of an individual. Taylor Fedun is a shining star here in his reaction to such a challenge.
Taylor's positive attitude and drive comes as no surprise to Davey, who has forged a close bond with the prospect as they work together to restart his career.
Taylor's a very intelligent hockey player who questions everything I ask him to do, so that A, he understands, and B, that we're taking care of everything. And so it is fantastic to work with an athlete like that is engaged and motivated. He has shown the entire room what hard work is, and that there's nothing that you can't overcome. And it's just nice. You come back from a road trip and the players see him wheeling around in his cane, and he was in crutches before we left. It's just really good to see, and a good guy to work with.
He's been an incredible role model and teacher this entire time. It feels like every time we hit a new step in the process where I can put more weight on, he's constantly thinking of new things to do and testing everything out on the scale himself first to make sure that it's in my safe range. And he's got a tremendous amount of energy that helps me stay positive and helps me be excited about all the new steps. And we've got to spend quite a bit of time together, so I feel like we've grown quite close. And as I've been able to do more and more, even when things seem difficult, I'm not really able to complain about it because he's right there beside me doing everything at the same time. So I can't speak highly enough about the guy. He's pretty humble about it, but he's been a tremendous part of this rehab.
This past week, the 23-year-old returned to practice with his teammates, a monumental step in moving forward from the rehab process and focusing on fighting for a roster spot at training camp come September.
I want to be able to head into summer training without even having to think about my leg, just as if it was the end of a season and I was ready to train just with everyone else, so that when the time comes to be here again at the beginning of September, it's a thought in the past and it's not something that I'm thinking about anymore. After a whole year of kind of being involved but not really being involved, not being in the dressing room or in the games, in the heat of battle with the guys, it's something that I really do miss, and it's something that I'm really, really excited about to get back to.